So let's move right along to one of your passions, and we've talked about this before, that's pre-K counts,
right,
and what you're doing to help make that more affordable.
Right. So just to back up, we have a great pre-K program in Pennsylvania, Bright Futures. It's an innovative program. It's one of the best in the country. And this has been open really to anyone in my district or statewide who wanted to send their kids. For whatever reason, this past year, the school district of Philadelphia began enforcing an income cutoff of about $66,000.
For a family of four.
For a family of four. So what that means is if you live in Northeast Philadelphia and husband's a cop and wife's a teacher or some other profession and don't make, certainly not rich, don't make a lot of money, but make just over the cutoff, now suddenly your kid isn't eligible for the Bright Futures program. I have heard from literally over 100 constituents on this issue. It is completely unfair and discriminatory, frankly, to target middle-class families and working-class families in this way. It's something that upsets me deeply. I feel personal about it. I know a number of families and friends of mine who now their kids are not eligible for the Bright Futures program, even though the program is actually being held at 2 elementary schools that are in our district, and now you have a number of families who can't send their kids there. It makes no sense at all. So I have a bill that would lift that income requirement. It would basically put it back to the way it's always been before suddenly this income requirement issue was put into effect. So my bill very simply would help the middle-class families in my district send their kids to the Bright Futures program. It's best for them, but it's also the best for all of us in society. We can't tailor, I believe in helping everybody. Mm-hmm. We can't have programs that leave out middle-class families.
Because they're always being squeezed, even in this economic crisis.
Exactly, yeah.
The middle class.
Right. So it's something that I feel passionate about. It affects my district, and I'm hopeful that we'll be able to change this really, to be frank, idiotic policy.
That's right, and idiotic it is, because studies show that a number of students who attend the pre-K counts program actually do better later on in life,
right,
which would help us, financially speaking, later on in life, because it would help keep them out of jail. Studies show that 52% of students who don't attend pre-K counts program end up in jail or prison by the age of 40, and we're already spending about $1.8 billion on prison facilities. So it would really help us out if we could save on that.
Right. I've talked before on this program when you've had me here as a guest, talked about the great bang for our buck that we get in terms of early education and early innovation. That's actually where we get the best return on our investment. So why in the world would we cut out these kids from the Bright Futures program? And, it doesn't actually save that much money is really the sad irony. If you already have a teacher hired, already have a classroom, there's no reason whatsoever why we should suddenly cut out middle-class families from benefiting from this program.
That's right. Any cuts to the funding of pre-K counts are false savings, because we end up paying for it later on in life in welfare or prisons. And even if we're not paying for it, our children do.
Right. Well, you said it better than I can. Just remember that in terms of that linkage between investing in someone early in life with education or having to pay for them for the rest of their life in terms of prison, it costs about $37,000 a year to house a prisoner in the state prison system. Mm-hmm. We spend about a quarter of that per pupil in funding on education. So keep those numbers in mind.
That's like the price of sending your child to Harvard.
Right. Right.
So also, in addition to helping with education, also helps with social skills and also the not so typical 9-to-5 jobs later on in life. It actually helps with military as well. Right.
There was, you may have seen just recently, there was a report on military readiness in Philadelphia, basically how many of our young people would be equipped and able to go into the military. And unfortunately, the study showed that because of lack of education, also physical health issues, obesity issues, so many jail record. So many of our young people in Philadelphia actually, if they wanted to go to the military, frankly, would not be accepted. And that's something that we need to improve upon.
Yeah, 80 to 90% of young Philadelphians would not be accepted. And that report was called Unable to Serve, Why Military Service is Out of Reach for Most Young Philadelphians. Well, we have some more information on exactly why pre-K counts is so important. Kevin Hensel has that report.
This is Eye on Pennsylvania, a bi-weekly look at Pennsylvania politics from the House Democratic Caucus.
Learning is a lot of fun for these 3- and 4-year-olds in Pittsburgh. As they play and jump, they're gaining the skills needed to start kindergarten ready to learn. It's part of the state's innovative program called Pre-K Counts. It targets kids at risk of failing in school. Teachers have long known it works, and now there's scientific proof. Dr. Stephen Bagnato of the Pitt School of Medicine led a 3-year study.
This was an enormous endeavor.
With the help of the Heinz Endowments, he studied nearly 10,000 children in 21 school districts around the state. The conclusion? Pre-K Counts improves math, literacy, and social skills and gets kids ready to start kindergarten.
This should put to rest the question of, does early childhood intervention work? It does. We've shown it, and a host of other states have shown it.
Here's a look at some of the findings. Pre-K Count students from all races and ethnic groups made gains. Nearly 80% of the students gained skills ready to succeed in kindergarten, well above the number without the program. Plus, kids in high-quality classes made more dramatic gains.
The longer you're in a high-quality program, the better you do in terms of your thinking skills, your language, and your social skills.
Checker is very good.
Pre-K Counts also saves tax dollars. This chart tells the story. School districts place 1 in 5 at-risk kids in expensive special education. For kids who have been in Pre-K Counts, that number drops to about 2%. Back in the classroom, these kids are the lucky ones. Many other 3- and 4-year-olds don't have this chance, and they start kindergarten more than a year behind.
If you have poor social skills, if you lack language skills, if you can't wait, share, take turns, follow directions, get along with others, being able to catch up, in a sense, is much harder.
That difference is easy to spot, according to Carol Barone Martin. She heads early education for the Pittsburgh Public Schools.
We get anecdotal stories from the kindergarten teachers all across our district that tell us that they can tell the difference between the children that had a pre-K program and the children that did not.
That's why House Democrats have long supported investments in early education.
We've always known since we implemented pre-K counts that it was going to work. And now with the University of Pittsburgh study coming out, showing how much it helps, especially those kids in poverty areas, those families who may not be able to afford that quality child care, it gives those children the ability to get that early head start.
Thanks to those investments and the hard work of communities and school districts to design programs that meet local needs, Pre-K Counts is a huge success. This year, nearly 12,000 kids are getting the skills they need to learn now and throughout their education.
The evidence is clear, I think, from this study and from others that investing in pre-K literally counts and helps give these children that otherwise wouldn't have a head start in our society a real leap forward.
Pre-K Counts isn't just about the kids. Teachers also have the opportunity to get coaching and mentoring. And not surprisingly, the study found it makes a difference in the classroom. You can read the entire study at the Heinz Endowments website. That's at heinz.org. That's going to do it for this episode of Eye on Pennsylvania. I'm Kevin Hensel. Thanks for watching.